I would like to welcome everyone to the first episode of After Hours, and the HIV Webshow. I'm Angelo. I am an HIV counselor and I work here for AIDS Society of the Philippines. And co-hosting with me is...
Hi, I'm Therese, and I'm a researcher on HIV topics.
And of course, we have what we wanted to do for our first episode is we wanted to invite someone who we could talk to and talk with, especially with our topic today, which is my best friend has HIV. What should I do? And our guest is a well-known HIV advocate, and he has been in the advocacy since December of 2008, should make it around 4 years or so. And I think everyone knows him, especially within the circle, Mr. Wanggo Gallaga.
Hi everyone.
Hello, Mr. Wanggo.
Mr. Wanggo.
Wanggo. So after all the years that you've been working in HIV, what's the first thing that comes to mind, especially now when you talk about disclosure?
Okay, disclosure is a really big thing in my opinion. I think it's a really big thing here in the Philippines when it comes to HIV because there's still a lot of stigma about it.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't want to disclose. They want to keep it to themselves. They want to be quiet about it. And I think you can just all you have to do is go on Twitter or check out blogs, and you'll find all these anonymous Twitter accounts and all these anonymous blogs where you'll see people who say that they're HIV positive, but there's no names, there are no faces that come with it. So disclosure is this huge thing that doesn't happen here in the country because of stigma. There are a lot of people who do not tell other people about their HIV situation.
Actually, I don't know how I would handle it as well if ever that I had to disclose something as big as my HIV status towards other people. For example, I remember a friend of mine disclosed his status. I think I was just a year in the work in the advocacy. I didn't really know how to handle it as well, since I grew up in a society where you go to church, you don't discuss the things, how you get HIV to begin with, so there's no information on HIV. That's why I think disclosure is a big parang taboo.
Yeah, like I said, it's stigma. We all know that people have problems regarding HIV, how people look at HIV, how they look at people who have HIV. And so, of course, it becomes a problem for people to disclose because you start attaching yourself with all those misconceptions or those judgments that happen.
Now, what do you think? Why do you think disclosure is important? I mean, I don't even remember why this person disclosed his status with me. I don't know, because probably I work for a society or something like that. But for me, it was a big shock why he chose me to tell his status.
Maybe, isa rin sa mga factors kung bakit siya nag-disclose. Pero personally, I've never experienced na may nag-disclose sa akin. I'm only exposed to this HIV world through research. And I think ang kulang sa amin, siguro outside sa world ng HIV is yung human side of this HIV, of this condition. So, disclosure, I think it's important kasi syempre it's a public health issue.
It's a public health issue.
Yes.
So, everyone should be safe from getting this. They should know how to protect themselves. So, I guess.
And no, but at the same time, coming from that, from what Clap was saying, was that it's a public health issue. In this day and age, it should not be a problem for people to disclose about their HIV. I think that there are some first world cities in other countries where you can live with HIV openly and it's not a problem.
Pero you have to consider, nandito rin tayo sa Pilipinas.
Tama.
Definitely, disclosure is a very big issue. Not even with just HIV. You have to consider a disclosure with your sexuality, disclosure with your sexual activities, disclosure with your even the smallest things like what you like to eat, what movies you like to watch. If ever you like watching Saw or Hostel, people would go, are you crazy? Why are you watching those gory films? Parang, it's a big issue pagdating sa Pilipinas kasi napaka-conservative natin.
Very judgmental if you want to think about it. If you want to be honest, let's be honest. I mean, if we weren't a judgmental society, it wouldn't be a problem.
Tapos,
and truth of the matter is, if you want to think about it, it shouldn't be a problem because it's still happening anyway.
Yeah.
It's happening behind closed doors without people knowing about it, but it's happening. People are doing it on a regular basis, and they're okay to do it with their partner, whatever that it is, diba? I mean, whatever, you know. But people are having sex, being promiscuous, or even not that, but even having alternative lifestyles.
Pero hindi rin nila inaamin sa sarili nila.
Yun din, oo.
Pero let's give a background first on disclosure on HIV. Kasi I'm sure not everyone knows the law that there is actually AIDS law. It's Republic Act 8504. And what it says about disclosure is that even sa medical team, no one is allowed to disclose someone's status except other than himself. Mostly in theory, your doctor, you have to tell your doctor, you have to tell your physician, for example, dentist, you're going to the dentist and you have to tell them na I'm HIV positive, yun yung I have, how does that go ba?
Even if a nurse is just taking a blood sample from me, I always tell them that I'm HIV positive because if there's anything wrong that happens during the taking out of the needle, kailangan nila malaman.
I'll read this out. Medical confidentiality. This is Section 30 of Article 6 ng confidentiality ng law. Medical confidentiality, all health professionals, medical instructors, workers, employers, recruitment agencies, blah blah blah, and custodians of any medical record file data are directed to strictly observe confidentiality in the handling of all medical information, particularly the identity and the status of the persons or of persons living with HIV. Well, dun pa lang mismo, it already says na parang ikaw lang talaga ang may karapatan na mag-disclose ng status mo, even if the doctor already knows your status by default because they're handling your case.
So, in any other disease or whatever condition na meron ka, parang responsibility, part na yun ng duty or responsibility ng isang medical professional na never pangunahan yung kanyang pasyente on her condition. So, parang rin ng HIV.
Which is sad din kasi, although I'm bringing up parang cliche, ang bilis kumalat when you're in a hospital, ang bilis kumalat ng balita, whatever condition you have, na sabihin na natin it's infectious, talagang mas mabilis pa sa alas 4 malaman lang ng isang staff. Although I don't believe naman that's always the case, pero yun yung stigma natin pagdating sa medical staff within a hospital, for example.
I remember my first year when I was diagnosed with HIV and I had to take certain tests. The doctors would still even try to make would put different types of conditions that are similar para lang makakuha ka ng blood and whatever to parang i-protect lang ako. This was before I had become public with my HIV status, before I started to disclose to everybody.
What particular steps did you take, for example?
Like if I had to do I had to take a particular exam for a particular. This was 4 years ago. So, ang daming pumapasok sa isip ko. Bagong-bago pa akong diagnosed nito. But I remember that I had to take a lot of exams. So they started putting down different reasons why I'm getting these blood work done. Okay. I hadn't decided yet whether I was going to tell the people at the office, but I was hospitalized for a month and a half. So she fixed up my a probable cause for why I was hospitalized. Just for my protection.
And this was for the eyes then only. I think this is for the eyes only of the medical team, for example. example, you're going to the medtech para lang they don't ask about it, mga ganon, or the nurses?
No. For the nurses, etc. But it's for the public outside of the hospital.
Okay. So, ang question ko dyan is, the public has access to
No,
what you're getting?
no, because I mean, I was gone for about a month and a half. So what I would tell friends, what I tell people at work.
So, this is parang how you would tell the people that why
Yes.
you're doing this, why
Yes,
you're doing that.
that sort of thing. But definitely in the medical field, they have to know.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. Pero, I was thinking din kasi, you were taking these steps because nga of the stigma that is already surrounding our society. And I would think na ang pinanguhugutan kasi nito is yung takot ng person to be discriminated on, na mga kasi ganito ka, kasi ganyan ka, you got this, kasalanan mo, ganyan. So, how would you say yung feeling nung the first time that you were undergoing your tests, the first time you were diagnosed?
I don't know what it's like for other people. I had iba talaga iba yung
Per person,
iba yung nangyari kasi sa akin eh. The moment I was diagnosed, sinabihan ko na kagad yung sister ko. Sinabihan ko kagad yung parents ko. And then slowly I told my best friend. So medyo may support system na ako kaagad. And so it was much easier for me to go through the whole process. Kasi may tumatanggap na sa akin kaagad. Mas madali para sa akin mag-adjust. But for a lot of other people, especially people who have called me up and will talk to me na kakadiagnose lang sa kanila, it's not that easy. They're always thinking that people are looking at them funny, na parang baka they can tell, baka they know, baka may may magsasabi sa ibang tao. It's always there behind your head, you know. My first year, not naman first year, but my first 3 months, 4 months, every time I took a test and I would say I have HIV, you're always thinking sa likod, you know, in the back of your mind na parang, okay, now they're judging me. They're probably asking, ba't kaya siya nagka-HIV? It's there.
Pero, in terms of, sige, sabihin na natin, everyone knows that when you're feeling afraid, you're always parang looking down na parang people are judging me and all that. Did it take its toll on your health as well? I mean, how much of your lifestyle change after yung process ng disclosure with family?
Well, I've always been the baby of my family. I'm the bunso. Tapos I'm also kind of like the bunso with my friends. I'm the one that they always, ako yung kalat-karen, ako yung ano. So, when I started telling people about my HIV status, they've always been very accepting of me, but they've always been very caring for me. Mas nagdoble, you know. I mean, that's the thing that happened. They're sila yung unang nagtatanong, okay, bawal ba sa'yo yan? Pwede ka ba kumain yan? Rest first, huwag kang lumabas. Or, you know, they're the ones who were reminding me to do the things that I was supposed to do. They were helping me watch out for these things. But like I said, iba talaga situation ko sa ibang tao.
Curious na ako din sa yung social, yung parang mga nakapalibot sa yung family, yung
Yes.
friends. Parang how did they accept it easily? Aside from that, nandun suka and there's the HIV, parang how?
How did
Okay.
they wrap around?
The thing is, yung lifestyle ko, alam na nila lahat before. Since before, when I was promiscuous, when I had multiple partners, when I was sleeping around, everybody knew. Hindi naman nga binubulgar ko, I'm sleeping around. Hindi naman yung ganun, okay? But I would tell people that I was, and they always reminded me, Wanggo, you know, use protection. Are you sure you want to do this? Kilalanin mo muna. You know.
Pero what? Actually, use protection. You didn't consider it. Did you?
No, they would always remind me. Because they knew that ganun nga yung lifestyle ko. They were always reminding me. Para lang, you know, kasi parang, you're such a slut, Wanggo. Yung parang ganun,
Okay,
etc.
okay.
Just make sure, ha? Yung parang, instead of telling me not to do it, they'll just tell me na lang to do it properly. It was just, and I wanted to naman, but there were many instances na hindi nangyari. And so when I finally got diagnosed, they were like, we told that. Syempre, that's always the first, yan yung laging first reaction, diba? Yung parang, sinabihan na nga kita, ang tigas ng ulo mo, etc. But since we had this kind of discussion way before, you know, mas madali para sa kanila mag-accept. It's not na out of the blue, ay, Wanggo, you've been sleeping around pala. I have multiple partners. They knew that part of me na. So, alam na nila yung cause. So, nung nangyari na yung effect, it was easy for them to accept. But a lot of, like what you were saying a while ago, ang ibang tao, sa sarili nila, hindi nila inaanin yung kanilang lifestyle. So, pag linabas nila, sinabi nila na may HIV ako, yung hindi alam ng person, ng family, ng friends na.
It'll be a big surprise.
Big surprise. HIV na nga, then he sleeps around pala, etc.
Tapos he's actually gay.
Parang ganon.
He's actually sleeping with a lot of different women.
Or for example, situations na yung OFW na may asawa sa, you know, and then bumalik, may HIV. Super surprise yun kasi alam ng asawa, magiging faithful siya sa kanya, diba? So, the HIV comes with, is a surprise itself. Tapos yung hindi pa nang alam about that person's lifestyle.
Have you encountered like, since you've been in the advocacy for a long time na rin, have you encountered people telling you na, I've changed as, for example, na-discover nga nila yung kanilang status, parang, nakikita mo na their self-esteem is always it changed na talaga. Parang hindi na sila yung dating tao na very happy, very outgoing, na ano na parang nagbago na.
Yeah, I've met a couple who are like that. But I try to stay away kasi from those situations because ako mismo down din ako eh.
Yeah.
You know, I have to try and always keep myself on a up, you know, I always have to try and keep myself on a positive, pardon the pun. Pero I have to try to keep myself positive. So when I see those kinds of people, hi, hello, I'll do whatever I can to help. And then iwas na ako kasi I cannot allow myself to get affected then by that situation. But there are people na first impression pa lang, wow, apektado talaga sila. You know. But that's always just a first impression. You know, baka kung kinalanin ko talaga yung tao, hindi talaga siya ganon. You know. I mean, but for me kasi, my natural instinct kasi is to stay away. Kasi I have to stay positive.
Well, actually, I'm curious. Meron bang nagkaroon na yung depression ng galing sa taong pinagsabihan mo? Like, they felt really bad
because
because you have HIV?
I've had a lot of friends.
Sila yung na-depressed. Parang, inangkin. Pero it happens eh, di ba? Parang,
in reverse naman. Yeah,
kasi you told us na iniiwasan mo. But these are the people you told your status to and your friends.
Yun naman, it's a different situation because yun, kaibigan mo, sinabihan mo, tapos na-depression dahil sa sinabi mo. Ako yung may kasalanan ng depression, you know? So, syempre, I feel bad about that. And it becomes my job to show people that I'm okay.
Okay.
You know, that's why it was always important for me na nung nag-disclose ako to always show myself to be as healthy as possible, to be energetic. I tried to be as funny, corny na. Yung mga jokes ko, sinusubukan ko pa rin just to show that, you know, I'm okay, I'm doing fine.
Sa research nyo, have you encountered like instances na yun nga, na nagkakaroon ng depression? What are the things that you encountered sa research na pagdating sa mga cases ng people who have HIV na nagkakaroon ng depression? Are there instances na may nakausap kayo or may mga cases ba na you encountered na yun nga, may depression mala na nangyayari?
Well, based lang dun sa nakuha naming data, for majority of them encounter depression. Kasi parang yung nag-reflect ako dun sa sinabi ni Wanggo na parang yung sinabihan niya na depressed. Parang siguro for that person, na-imagine imagine niya yung kung what if sa kanya nangyari yun and
Yeah.
yung family or friends na meron siya, how would they react? And of course, opposite kay Wanggo, so parang parang na-imagine lang niya siguro, na-imagine yung sarili niya, what if nandun siya sa lugar yun. But for in my work, most of them experience depression because it's the initial thing. Kasi nga yung fear na the family will not accept you, they will judge you because of these expectations they have on you. So, pero yun lang talaga yung nakukuha namin sa work. And then, syempre, ang goal naman ng work namin is how to help them through creating this environment through policies, programs, creating this enabling environment na para ma-lower yung stigma. What are the programs that will help, like psychosocial support?
Yeah.
If wala, hindi ba din family, if he or she doesn't want to disclose to the family. Parang din na.
And outside of that, I wanna add to Clark, because what she was saying, medyo naisip ko din, sometimes yung nagiging problema, it's not depression yung feel after disclosure. The other person ends up feeling paning.
Yeah.
If they have similar lifestyles to you. They start thinking about anong mga nang ginawa ko sa past ko, that could I be infected also, etc. It brings up all these questions.
What are the different reactions you had? For example, you have you told your former sex partners or mga kasama mo before your status? How did it happen?
I am super lucky because everything so far for me has been good and pleasant, and it was all very
Easy to handle.
easy to handle. I found out 2008. By 2007, medyo nag-mature na ako, nag-grow up na ako. I decided to be a good boy and try to be, yung ayoko na sa lifestyle na yun. So I stopped. So by 2007, I had removed already all the numbers of the people that I had sex with. I removed all my sites at the time. All these websites that downlink, connection, etc. I had removed everything. So I had no way to contact these people that I had sex with. But that's one of the reasons why I decided to go public. Was so that hindi ko kayo ma-reach, lang,
Okay.
The only person whose number I still had was my ex. I had an ex back in 2004. I still had his number. So I called him up and I told him, and of course, his first reaction was, "Are you okay?" Which was kind of shocking for me because we were not really friends. I mean,
We were exes.
we were exes. We haven't really spoken in a long while. So it was quite shocking. Well, let's be honest about it. Yeah, we were still, seeing each other, once
For
in a
the
while
benefits.
for the benefits lang,
Okay.
Not friends but benefits.
Okay.
So that's why I still had his number. So syempre natakot siya, but he told me that he had just had himself tested recently. So when I called him, he said he was fine. So he was more concerned than scared for himself. There was no depression on his part. So I was feeling quite good about that. Then nung December 2008, so 3-4 months after nalaman ko na may HIV ako, I went public with my HIV. I came out on television. There were newspaper articles that came out, and slowly people started finding out that I had HIV. Since I never changed my number, these people started calling me again,
Okay.
and texting me, "Hey, do you remember me?" And blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. How are you?" "I'm fine." "No, how are you?" Sila yung nagsasabi sa akin. I do know somebody who told me that he found out he had HIV, but he wasn't sure who he got it from. He doesn't know if he was the one who gave it to me. He doesn't know if he got it from me. We don't know kasi similar lifestyles kami. Things like that. So, basically, para sa akin, the response disclosure of my public disclosure was that I was able to get in touch with the people that I had slept with, and sila yung mismo ang tumawag sa akin. Sila yung lumapit.
I'm curious ako, this is a public disclosure, syempre, you come from a high-profile family.
Yeah.
So,
yes, yeah.
Ish! De, pero, paano nangyari yun? How did it happen na, how did your family Of course, you told. Did
I
you tell
told
them first?
I told my family first, friends second, my really close friends second. When I got out of the hospital, I went and told my office because I was working in magazines at the time, and I asked them if I understand that the magazine is a image-based industry. I don't know if you want to have an HIV positive person in your, but I had no plans on hiding it. So if you want me to resign, I'll resign. And my bosses in publishing, they told me, is it going to affect your work? I said no. Well, you submit on time, you submit all your things on the deadline, you do good work, you're fine. You can stay with us.
Pero,
So I
what
was
did your family say? Before your actual
the public disclosure. So
no ba sila? Or
they told me to think about it kasi sabi nila, are you sure you want to do that? Kasi if you do that, just make sure that you're ready kasi there are people who are going to be mean. There are people who are going to be judging you. There are going to be people who are going to say bad things towards you.
babalik ka sa high school?
Parang ganon, babalik sa high school. And I didn't like high school. So yun. So, but I said, kailangan eh. So, it has to be done, you know. So I said, sige. That's all they told me. Sinabi nila, just prepare yourself.
And, I mean, nangyari nga ba yung mga
Negative.
negative? Wala.
The most I can ever say is probably I did a lot of YouTube videos. Other organizations had asked me to do these documentaries about my experience. They put it up on YouTube. And there were some comments there na parang, you deserved it kasi you're gay.
Yeah.
The usual. And
Yeah.
it wasn't even attacking me per se. It was attacking gays in general. And even the usual ignorant, stupid comments
Yeah.
that happens. One or two on YouTube. And then maybe one on Twitter that I've totally forgotten because it was like once lang, you know. So it doesn't.
Pero with your work in the advocacy, have you encountered like people who actually receive like very very hateful things?
From since I found out, I know people. I'm sure you've heard of this also during your research. People who've been kicked out of the house, people who've lost their jobs because of it. The discrimination, the stigma, it's out there. I don't know why. I am extremely lucky and blessed to have never experienced it myself.
Kasi I would think na this would, yun kasi isa sa mga fear, I'm sure, fear ng mga tao na of people living with HIV na paano pag nag-disclose ako, ano yung mga makukuha ko na negative stuff na from the people. And I would think kasi na this, parang ano siya parang siyang domino effect na first you get depressed, like we mentioned earlier, there's fear, then there's depression, tapos magugulat ka na lang, ano na siya, he passed away because he took his life, parang ganun. I'm sure, have you encountered like people telling you na I don't want to live anymore, mga ganun?
I had a few. But there you have to talk to them as if, you know, based on what you know and how to help them resolve these issues.
Yeah, how do you bring them to from your perspective, how do you bring them, since you're all about the positivity, fun again, is how do you bring them to tell them na we can talk to someone? Is there
I
a way
always,
to,
what happens is usually there are situations in the past na parang tumawag sila sa akin, hinanap nila ako because they saw me on TV or they read about me or whatever. Hinanap nila ako sa internet, they got in touch with me, and they told me ako lang yung taong sinabihan nila. Sabi ko, all the people pa ako. hindi tayo magkakilala, you won't even give me your real name, pero
yeah.
you know. And they're always talking about how they're scared of this, they're scared of that, and the first thing I always tell them, you wanna go to your doctor and talk to your doctor. Magpa-consult ka because once you know and understand the situation, you realize it's not as scary as you think it is. There are treatment, there are medicine that you can take which can help stabilize your health. You just have to change your lifestyle just a little bit, and you'll be fine. I mean, I've been living with HIV for 2008 now, and I've had 2 scares. I've been hospitalized twice, but that's because I was a bad patient. Okay, I was a bad boy. That's another topic altogether. I'm now working again. I'm paying my own bills. I'm fine. So this can happen for you also. But you have to talk to your doctor. And you have to follow your doctor. And maraming beses, tawag sila ng tawag, takot sila, ayaw nila pumunta. Sometimes, kailangan ko pa sabihin, gusto mo samahan kita. Even though out of the way, hindi ko siya kilala, etc. Kung ano pa yung mangyari sa akin. But sometimes, and then finally, they'll tell me, okay, I'm on my way to my doctor. And then after that time, they see their doctor, they stop calling, they stop texting.
Parang, kasi parang nakita kong importante sa bawat isa sa atin, yung kailangan lagi natin may kasama. Kahit mag-CR lang.
That's a
Babae yan.
That's a girl
Babae yan. Hindi yan. Kasama dyan. Kasi parang hindi ko nang feel na may kasama ko. Kasama guys.
Okay, for girls.
No, but go on.
Sorry. Wala kayo mong maisip na example. Pero yun, sama kung saan. Pero ito, parang, what if I think I'm positive and I just want to get myself checked out. Pero kailangan ko nakasama, but I don't want my friends to come along or my family.
I'll ask you that. I mean, especially for girls. I'll ask you that. How will you handle that situation? Diba? Ikaw yung guest. Naging ikaw yung guest. Kasi I would like to know how women handle it. Kasi it's a different parang train of thought pagdating sa testing with regards to women. Kasi they don't see themselves as vulnerable. Because nga of, again, stigma that it's a gay disease, stuff like that. Pero how give a woman's perspective on this? Kasi ikaw na rin lang naman ang open up.
Well, mahirap. I mean, I have not gotten myself, hindi pa ako nagpa-HIV test ever. Even if I'm in this, even if I work in the HIV world, it's difficult for me. Of course, parang like nung in HIV 101 kami, and then lahat na information nandun. Pero parang andun nga yung risks. Sabi ko, I'm not vulnerable. But still, parang given those given the risks, still feeling ko parang
just for your peace of mind.
Yeah,
just para lang sa peace of mind mo.
So I want to get myself tested, but I'm scared. Parang people will judge me. I don't know. Maybe next time. So siguro I will be able to go to the doctor if I have someone, but not my friend or not my family.
Right.
So yun yung gusto ko malaman. Any support group that
Well,
help me go there.
Well, dito sa Metro, definitely yung partner organizations natin, like, there is Positive Action Foundation Philippines Incorporated. They're the group that handles a lot of the treatment care and support. Even nationwide din ata ang hawak din nila. They have other networks din sa different regions. And pero as for the support group naman, people who actually interact personally, individually, there is also Pinoy Plus, which is another partner of our office, and Babae Plus. Babae Plus, I think Babae Plus is parang closely tight-knit. Itong tatlong to, they're tight-knit sa pagdating sa networking nila. Kasi syempre, it's a small group din naman na they want to keep it within the family. Or so they say, you know.
My suggestion is because these are only 3 organizations that can do this, but there's a whole lot of how many Filipinos are there? 74 million Filipinos, 90 million Filipinos, whatever. Let's make it personal. For me, I would like to advocate na parang go as groups of friends. How can you feel judged when 20 of you get 10, 12 of your closest friends, hey, let's all have an HIV test. Wala, just for the hell of it. No judgments whether you're vulnerable or not. Let's just all have an HIV test together. And I think that thing, when 12 people, all friends, go to have an HIV test together just to find out if they're okay. I mean, grabing gimmick na to. Pero you know what I mean. But you know, you go there, watch a movie afterwards, have dinner, whatever. But when people start coming in bulk, all of a sudden I think that might help get rid of the stigma. But because if it becomes a more natural, everyday situation, eventually it's going to remove the stigma of being afraid to go. Because everybody's going off and doing it. And if you're 12 people, that you're close with, it's much better. Like, I just thought about it now. Iniisip ko, anong diferensya ng taong hindi mo kilala na sumama sa'yo kaysa taong kilala mo? Diba? Just to have an HIV test. And especially for you who's not vulnerable.
Kasi feeling ko ang the reason why they go with people that they don't know. Kasi whether or not if you judge them, kapag hindi ka nila kilala, they can easily cut you off their lives. Pero kapag tao kakilala ka nila and they're really close to you, tapos biglang one wrong pitik lang sa mata, they feel as if, oh my God, mawala na yung friend ko, wala na akong support, wala na akong person I can talk to with stuff and stuff like that.
But then for me, if that person cuts you off because you found out that you have HIV, and if they disappear from you, they're not your friend.
Yeah,
you're better off actually, for that matter. You know who your friends are.
Yeah.
You know.
Pero yun, I think it's part of, again, the fear of losing a part of yourself. Parang yun yung feeling as a person who encounters a lot of people talking to me with regards to their fear in HIV in general. Ang takot nila is to lose a part of themselves, knowing na HIV has already cut a lot of the things that they were so used to.
Yeah.
So, yun yung na-encounter ko talaga na parang pag sinabi ko pa sa friend ko, baka iwanan niya ako, tapos then, ayan, domino effect na naman, stuff like that.
But here's the situation, I mean, here's the essential base truth. When you're diagnosed with HIV, everything has to change. You cannot keep things the way they are. All your relationships are going to change. The way you live your life every day is going to change. That's non-negotiable. You have to re-navigate all your relationships with everybody that you know. And you will lose some people maybe. You will gain new people in your life. And the ones who stay, they're there for you. And they're your true friends. And you end up knowing that fact.
And actually, this is just already, I think this is applicable also dun sa having the test pa lang itself.
Yeah, kasi it's not even HIV pa lang.
Ito, disclosure, meron ng ano na yan may ganong shifting pa rin ng utak na if I'm gonna tell you and you judge me, oh bye. Pero yung sa HIV test pa lang, yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina na takot na sila magpa-test because nga of the possibility that people will leave him. Yun din pagdating sa disclosure, it's another hurdle for them to try and conquer.
But I suppose, for me anyway, para sa akin, if you go and have the test together, you go through that hurdle. If you find out you're diagnosed positive, there's still another hurdle to go through, but it's much smaller now.
Yeah.
Kasi dinaanan nyo na together with the test, diba? And by that, if you find out you're HIV positive, those 12 people that you went with, they're immediately your support system.
But ito, question ko
I mean, it's just a thought. I mean, I'm just throwing out an idea here.
Okay na naman siya. I mean, I don't think anyone has given it an actual thought na subukan natin to, gawin natin siya activity, tambay tayo minsan sa testing center.
There is one, pero among MSMs.
What is MSM? Sorry.
Men who have sex with men.
just for the purpose of it. Para wala naman tayong masyadong ma-isolate ng mga tao.
Yeah. Ang ginawa nila, sabay-sabay silang nagpa-test. And then of course, these are gays. So mga gidi-gidi silang magpa-test. So nagpa-test and then they got the result and then some were happy and then one or two were not. So parang yun kasi yung sabay-sabay pa nila nakuha yung test result. So doon kasi yung doon na pumapasok yung disclosure, yung confidential, hindi ka na mag-second guess kung malungkot yung tao na negative siya.
Yeah.
So parang yun lang yung isang naging problem.
Well, again, as mentioned nga ni Wang kanina, if it's about how your relationship is with these people eh. Kung syempre kung malungkot ka, I mean, and napansin nila, if I were one of the people na happy to sa nakakita na malungkot, I would immediately be concerned and the person who would care for them. Not na parang concerned na okay, parang gano'n. Ako as a person, I mean, if I were to kasama dun sa mga but not everyone is like me.
Yes. I mean, it would be so awful, and I just thought about it now na ikaw negative, and then there are two people in your group who's positive, and ikaw, yes, I'm, and then nakita mo na nga positive yung dalawa, pero ikaw pumarty ka pa rin, saya-saya. Bastusan na yan.
Some kind of friend you are.
But there are people who are like that. Yes, that's true. But
at least you know na iwasan mo din siya.
That's the other thing, I mean,
but I think it's if it will get the person to get tested. Kasi I would think it's easier to get over once you already know.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. It's so much easier once you have yourself tested. The peace of mind is unbelievable.
And
whether it's positive or negative, the result. Because then you know what to do.
So, taking at that peace of mind, either positive or negative, paano ka magkakaroon ng peace of mind when you're positive?
Because what happens is when you're diagnosed positive, at least you're not wondering anymore if I have it, if I'm not. There are steps to follow after. And then if you're negative, hopefully you'll recognize the steps na, okay, I was at risk. I should stop, I should change these things about my lifestyle. Kasi I was at risk, kaya ako nag-test or whatever. There are steps to follow. But if you haven't taken the test, wala kang peace of mind kasi hindi mo alam kung anong gagawin mo. Are you going to do this or are you going to do this? Hindi mo alam. So that's where there's a lack of peace of mind. But if you have yourself tested, tapos may negative or positive man, alam mo na yung gagawin mo afterwards. That's what I mean about the peace of mind.
Pero ano yung for you during the experience nga na kasi you had to disclose din naman to your family.
Yes.
What was the role of your support? What was the general role of your support system? From everything like keeping you in track with your medication, with your test. What did they do for you as a support?
More important para sa akin was that they reminded me na parang I was still me.
Okay.
Because I don't know what it's like for other people, but when you get HIV, first thing you think about, of course, that you're gonna die, and you're gonna die an awful death, and you're gonna be ugly, and you're gonna have you're gonna wrinkling and then lesions, etc. And then and that's the problem. All our movies about HIV, the person dies of AIDS, in almost all the movies, there's no person.
The poses everywhere.
Diba? And then with sad music playing. And yan yung iniisip mo na ito ang mangyayari sa akin. We don't have a media, a movie or a TV show where a person has HIV at the start and he's still alive at the end, and he's still beautiful. But
even with a happy ending movie, which is Philadelphia, he actually dies still.
Yeah,
so, what's the point?
Exactly. So, ganun, the death is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then, the fact that you're thinking na, okay, I'm not gonna be able to finish this. I'm not gonna be able to do that.
What does support group do for
being
you?
there reminded me that there are things that we can do. They went off and did research because medyo may defeatist attitude ka na sometimes. I don't know what it's like for everybody else. But for a while, you're just gonna lie down in bed and think. And for them, better for you to just lie down and rest and get the stress out of your head, go through what's going through your head. Sila yung nag-research para sa akin. Then, okay, Wanggo, we saw this article on this one. Oh, we saw this. Oh, I called up your doctor, blah, blah, blah. So, all of a sudden, may nagpo-push sa akin to go and see your doctor, go do this, go do that, and eventually, don't go to work first. Oh no, you know what? You should go to work. Get it out of your mind.
Paano naman yung nag-disclose ka sa friends? Si Bad nag-disclose ka sa family, so they were the ones who picked you up when ganyan yung mga situations. Pagdating naman nung nag-disclose ka sa friends, what was their role as a support group?
For them was that they gave me an opportunity to be me again.
Because of a lot of the things have already changed.
Oo,
Because
and
sabi mo,
especially dahil dinaanan ko na lahat ng mga dark thoughts ko and all the stress and depression from with my family. When I started telling my friends, nadaanan ko na yon. When I told them, like I said, some of them got depressed, na parang, oh my God, bang saan nangyari sa'yo? It was my job now to make them feel better. And then, it reminded me of who I was when I'm with them. And then, because I like to make jokes. With my friends, no matter which group of friends I'm with, I like to make jokes. I'm the funny one. Yes. As
kahit corny yung
kahit corny,
kahit corny.
Basta may punchline doon, kahit corny, I'll go for it, etc. So when I was with them, and all of a sudden I realized, hey, I'm still alive. I'm still a person, you know, and you have to go back to your old routine. You have to go back into the routine of living. Kasi otherwise, you're just gonna stay home and worry. And that's not good. Hindi talaga yan maganda para for anyone, even if the person doesn't have HIV. If you stop and dwell about your problems and you don't move on, nothing's gonna happen to you. And my friends, they really helped me remind me that I was still a person outside of HIV, etc. And that there were still things that I could do. That's the importance of the support group. That's why it's important, I think, to disclose to people. At
Naisip
least
ko
to
naman,
someone.
naisip ko, Kla, di ba nag-disclose nga, mention nga na nag-disclose siya publicly. What was the role naman of the public in terms of, did they do anything for you na, did they become like some sort of support group? Kahit in some way, did they give you, for example, they gave you inspiration or something like that, an avenue for you to be an advocate, parang gano'n?
People have been very, very, very supportive. And that gives me hope. Because when I thought na parang, okay, I'm not gonna be able to do anything, you know, at the time, especially the first 2 years, I was like, oh, I'm never gonna make it to 40, you know. I'm never gonna make it, and all of a sudden, people were, I would get, you know, texts or calls, or people would write on my blog, I'm inspired by your story, whatever, I think you're so brave, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. I'm doing something. I'm still part of society. I mean, I think deep down inside, everybody wants to belong, and I feel like I belong somewhere in the world, you know. Kahit, you know, this small little, you know, our country, may nagawa din ako.
Yeah.
Ng konti. I always downplay it kasi medyo nakakaya to talk about it. But I feel like I've helped people, and that there's a reason for me to keep going.
And during this time, were you able to create new relationships from disclosing to the public? Probably, I don't know,
honestly,
probably work friends or stuff like that.
The great thing is I get to meet people like you. You know, people in the different groups. I've become very good friends with doctors. And sometimes if I meet a doctor for the first time, I'm like, oh, you're Wanggo. Oh, yeah, I've heard about you. You're a doctor. I love you. I already love you. Parang ganon, you know, because I've been hospitalized several times. So I'm here now because of the, you know, the wisdom and the skill and the love of the doctors who took care of me.
Or the nurses.
And the nurses, yes, and definitely
And
the
the
nurses.
nurse.
My goodness, yes, 24/7 love yan, you know.
Yeah.
And I have almost an instant connection with anyone from the healthcare, you know.
Yay, nurses.
world. Yeah.
Sorry. Well,
yeah.
eto, there are other actually support groups in the country then. For example, if they don't really know where to go to then, just we can run them down.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Cavite Plus, there you can get a hold of them. Cebu Plus, Crossbreeds. This is for Crossbreeds is Bacolod. Yeah. Thank you, audience. My audience. United Western Visayas. This is for the Iloilo area, Western Visayas area. Mindanao Advocates, Alagad Mindanao, and Tambayan.org, and Davao Group, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry if I missed out a couple of support groups, but these are the people that you can get a hold of. Saan ang camera? Ayun. Hi, camera. These are the people that you can get a a hold of, you can search them on Google. I'm sure they'll come up. But if you're having trouble looking for a local support group, it's Pathly that you could go to. Or actually, you can even contact AIDS Society of the Philippines. We're accessible on a lot of social media. So if you have questions, you can call the office or you can tweet us, Tumblr. Yes, we have Tumblr and stuff like that. It's all on AIDSphil. Our handle is AIDSphil. AIDSPHIL. Yeah, so there. It's visible, diba? Alright. So, maiba tayo. For example, if as a person living with HIV, how would you, if you're ready na, how would you handle a situation where you want to disclose? That's parang step by step. Ano ba siya is it like a date? Are you like supposed to smell nice, look nice? Ganun ba?
Well, definitely, I think you choose one person first. Make it really easy on yourself.
Who?
Huh?
Who do I choose?
That one is up to you. Who is the closest person to you that you are sure, sure na sure ka na hindi ka tatanggihan. Tatanggihan. Sorry. Someone who has been there for you through thick and thin. Be it your brother, your sister, your best friend.
But every corny joke.
Through every corny joke or whatever. Start simple, start small, start very personal. And you tell that person. Maybe not on a public place because if the person gets dramatic. Kasi if you're that close to someone, malamang mahal na mahal ka nun at naman ma-depress pa siya or whatever.
Pagka Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls ka agad, So, keep it intimate and private, etc. And then say, and just disclose. Tell the person what it is, and then, for me, it was really important for me that I looked healthy, that I was healthy.
Okay.
That I wasn't sneezing, I didn't have coughs or colds, that I didn't, because the first thing they're going to be is concerned, I think. If it's a positive response, and I really, really, really hope it's a positive response, the first thing they're going to be is really, really concerned. And so if you're sick at that moment, it might cause them extra worry, So be as healthy as you can be and be bright. Get a lot of sleep beforehand, dapat, wag naman coffee at saka something energetic. And then start with one person. And then ask that person to keep your secret or whatever. And then once you foster and you become comfortable with it, because you need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And you don't realize also the added stress of living a lie. Or not naman living a lie, living in secret. That's one of the reasons why I feel that it's important to disclose. Because it's hard to hide all the pills.
Yes.
It's hard to
Every
hide
day.
all the medical situations. And it's nice to have when someone's watching the back. Hindi pwede na mag-iisa ka lang. Like, I've stopped closing doors or locking doors already when I go and take a shower or whatever because I'm afraid na what if something happens to me when I'm in the washroom and then no one can reach my body. And for example, I'm taking a shower and then the water is going to keep running. Sayang sa tubig, diba? Parang
All the things to be
ganon.
concerned.
But since of course everybody knows about my situation, there's always someone who's like, we're gonna overnight. Oh, overnight, sige, let's overnight. Ay, wait, did you bring your meds? Yung parang ganon, Because sometimes if you're getting on with your life, nakakalimutan mo din yung mga iba eh. It's so easy because basically it's really just healthy lifestyle and take your meds. That's pretty much it. And then
Everything is parang normal.
you don't have you don't have headaches, you don't have chills. There's no physical symptoms of HIV. So sometimes pwede mo makalimutan na meron ka.
Yeah.
And having someone out there will always remind you, na parang, hoy, nasa-stressed out ka na ba? And that's what my family is very good at, Are you stressed out? Are you stressing out? Go to Bacolod, mag 1 week vacation ka because I'm not allowed to. I mean, when I get stressed, babalik yung meningitis ko,
Yeah.
things like that. So, and then once you get the first one done, go to the next. Go to the next. I suppose family will be hardest for some people because like what you said a while ago, Clark, it was fantastic. Na parang they have expectations of you. They have wants for you that are different from the ones a friend has for you. A friend wants you to be happy. Parents and brothers and sisters, they want you to be happy, but they have an idea of how you should be happy. You know,
of course.
And it's out of love. It's out of love. Pero meron silang sariling idea, especially pa if you're the youngest or you're younger than the rest of your family. They will want to take care of you. And that's the other thing also is that parang sampal din sa kanila, parang hindi ka nila naalagaan.
Yeah.
Kaya ka nagka-HIV. That's one of the things that you have to protect them from. Which is why it's always best to tell them when you're at your healthiest. But there are situations also para sa akin na you have to tell them na like if you're sick in bed and you're at, you know, at the brink na, sabihin mo na, you know, huwag mo nang hintayin. Baka, you know.
Pero eto, yung since you've never encountered like someone disclosing their HIV status with you. For example, you're the best friend. How would you take it? For example.
Well, of course, I'm already educated. Aside from being aware. Kasi being aware is not enough eh. Parang you're not yet sure of the information you have. And sometimes you still have myths and misconceptions about these things. But if I'm the best friend, well, of course, I'll be sad first for him. But I think that's the wrong reaction. But still, I think that's the initial, the normal human reaction. It's like your friend is just sick with a flu or something. Kasi parang he can't do these things muna for today or something like that. But, well, I have to be there for my best friend. And then, of course, with the help of Google, we'll Google a lot of things, the doctors, who will we go to, the support groups.
That's my sister and my mom's approach.
Pero grabe scary rin ng Google ha.
Yeah,
Kasi
careful din dapat tayo.
careful din dapat tayo. Visit AIDS.org. Siya ang promotion.
It's
Pero ako, siguro, based on my experience, nung may nag-friend sa akin na nag-disclose, actually, I have like couple na, two guys na nag-disclose. Yung, I didn't originally know their status. The first one was shocked, of course. Pero I was already educated then eh. Na hindi mo rin matanggal yung feeling ng shock na parang, oh, talaga? Okay. Pero ang ginawa ko is I wasn't siguro maganda na rin i-take on is I didn't show any sign of parang worry on my end. I of course I verbalized concern, pero I wasn't all teleserye drama na, oh my, really? Okay ka lang? Parang I tried to keep composure, di ba? Hindi, pero di ba, I mean, I tried as much as possible to keep composure. Kasi, parang it's a fact na rin, na since they told you, they want you to become a part of their circle and someone that they can talk to and they trust. If, parang it's them saying na, hey, if ever I need help, maybe you're the one I can talk to, parang gano'n.
Yeah. That's a wonderful way of putting it. By
that's
telling
how
someone, you're involving them in your situation, in your condition.
Of course, some people might not be ready, but again, it's all about the friendship that you have with that person.
Kasi isipin mo rin, parang ikaw yung hero nung nag-disclose sa'yo.
Or someone that they look up to.
Yeah.
Oo. Kasi if they are the one telling you, mataas ang trust niya na ini-invest sa'yo, and yung emotional investment niya sa'yo is that big na okay lang sa kanya mag-risk ng pag-disclose niya sa'yo.
Yeah.
So that's how I think of it. Kaya yung composure ko talaga at that time parang breathe. Parang gano'n. Kasi feeling ko it was them trying to reach out to me na, hey, I might need help sometime.
Yeah.
I hope you're there. Yun yung ano ko. And the second time was parang although the second time was another form of shock na parang wait, parang kailan lang nagkasama tayo magpa-test? What happened? Parang sa loob ko as a person naman within the advocacy, did I do something wrong? Did I miss out on ano? Siguro probably as a person naman, as a best friend, especially if both of you are aware of HIV, since a lot of the people are already aware of HIV. If you are the best friend, don't blame yourself then.
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's something my mom always talks about. There was one time I did a talk in Bacolod, and my mom was there. It was the first time I did a talk with my mom in the room. It was so embarrassing. Then they asked her to go up on stage, and so she came up as a mother of someone with HIV, and they asked her like parang, how were you able to deal with it so wonderfully? And coming from what you said a while ago, my mom said, the thing you have to remember about HIV is that it's not about you. If somebody comes and tells you na, ano yung topic natin, my best friend has HIV, what should I do? If your best friend comes up to you and says, I have HIV, you have to remember that what he's telling you has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. It's not your thing to save. He's telling you because that's part of your friendship.
Yeah.
You accept, you help, you offer what you really feel sincerely to offer, yung parang ganon, and that's it. It has nothing to do with you. It is not a
Sinisisi kita type of thing.
It's not.
Yeah, kasi ganun, yun yung initial feeling ko. Because, again, we were both well aware of the situation of HIV, the rise of HIV in the country. And parang, the time na nalaman ko, parang, I was like, hindi ba sapat yung ginawa kong education? Was I not a good friend? Should I have drilled them more na, no sex, parang ganun. Should I have done that kind of thing? Pero as the best friend, again, you shouldn't blame yourself. Kasi everyone is responsible for themselves. What you need to do in this situation is, again, be the friend that they're looking for. They didn't ask you to carry the burden for them. They're just there asking that if ever I need someone, be there lang.
Yeah.
I think yun yung magandang part na yung magiging response as a best friend.
Oo.
So, in terms of, for example, yung disclosure sa best friend, disclosure mo sa best friend mo, how did it go? Gusto ko makita kasi yung actual experience.
I had a really hilarious oh gosh, I have a funny story. I have many best friends. I have different groups of people. I'm very close to a lot of people. So I found out in August. I found out in August 2008 that I was HIV positive. And then 1 week later, I was hospitalized for meningitis. So I was hospitalized, double IV. I was dying, because I was on AIDS level already, actually. So I was there, and I just told my family. I haven't told my friends yet. So nobody knew that I was there because of HIV. They just knew I was there for meningitis. So, one by one, for some reason, nagkalat pa rin, to my friends and everything. So they started coming, Wangs, what did we hear?
This is just for meningitis.
This is for meningitis, but they heard the HIV. Okay. So some of them did. So they would come and they asked. So I was like there with my, heavily medicated and then dalawang IV talaga. Christmas tree, and then I was telling them, yes, it's true, blah blah blah. Like I said, that's why I said it's really important to be healthy if you can, because I was fighting for my life, and I would have to talk to them. Now I had HIV also. They were so distraught. I had one friend who called me up, and she was like, she didn't know I had HIV. She just knew that I was there for meningitis, and she calls me up. So I was there, in the hospital bed with my phone. It was like, Wangs, guess what? What? I went to a manghukula, etc. Like a witch doctor, and she told me now because I've been very unlucky lately, and I've been getting sick, and she told me someone put a curse on me. Parang kinulam ako. So I paid we burned incense, candles, etc. And then nawala, and then it's been 2 weeks na, and I've been feeling great. Okay, I'm happy to hear that, yung parang you've been feeling great, etc. Once, diba you've been getting sick the whole year, and now you're, do you think you're cursed? Gumanon siya.
Nakulang ka ba?
Nakulang ka ba? Do you wanna see her after you get out of the hospital? Baka gusto mo siya makita. And I was laughing already sa hospital, and I was like, I don't wanna tell her on the phone.
Yeah.
Ang pangit talaga. Pero,
so how did it go?
So I said, Kate, actually there's a scientific explanation as to why I'm here in the hospital. There is. Why? I have HIV. Oh my God! Oh, thank God! I thought nakulang ka! Akala ko nakulang ka! We were laughing and laughing. And then she went, oh wait! You have? Oh no! You have! But I was laughing already so much. It was a really funny situation. I think...
I hope every disclosure goes as happy as
Parang
that
was
one.
ganon, diba? Tawa ako ng tawa. But yeah,
That's a funny way to put that.
Pero careful din tayo kasi of course, yung sa country natin, marami tayong mga paniniwala.
Yes.
Culture.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're not making fun of anything. I just thought that was a really funny story.
Yeah.
Kasi she thought na nakulam ako. And
Kasi sometimes, there are still people who resort to the
Natural method.
Gamot sa HIV daw.
Yeah.
but, healing her.
Coconut, whatever, milk.
I did. Yeah, and I
So-
went to the hospital for it. I went off meds.
An example.
Oh, that's nice.
A really good example of stupidity, actually. Diba?
So, better consult your doctor.
Yes.
Yes.
Not the witch doctor.
Not the
but
witch doctor.
A real doctor, medical doctor.
Yeah. So, I guess, maganda rin na nasabi na explain ni Wanggo yung situation na how he actually disclosed to one of his best friends. And if you were to say something about disclosure to everyone who's watching, if you were to say something na to impart to them na what they should remember, what they should keep in mind with regards to disclosure.
For me, para sa akin, I think disclosure is really, really, really important because we have a stigma. There's a huge stigma that's going on in the country with regards to HIV. That's why people are not having themselves tested. That's why people are still getting infected because there's a stigma that's going on. Disclosure becomes part of the battle against stigma. Kasi if you go and tell your best friend, all of a sudden your best friend who cares about you is going to research and he's going to be there to stand by you. And then all of a sudden there's now another person who's there fighting against stigma. And then you go and tell your parents, and then that's +2. And then you go and tell this person and that person. When you disclose to someone, you're making your life easier. You're giving yourself a support system. At the same time, you're making more advocates for HIV. Because for me, ever since I started telling people, my friends, my family, the people at work about HIV, all of a sudden, sila na mismo ang naghahanap ng mga articles about HIV. Sila mismo ang when somebody says something bad about HIV, na yung mga ignorant statements, sila ang mismo, hey, that's not true. My son or my brother or my friend has it, and that doesn't apply to him. So all of a sudden, lumalaki ang community natin.
Yeah.
That's why disclosure becomes important. It's not just na naghahanap ka ng support, ng tulong. We're trying to get rid of stigma. The more people know of people who have HIV, the stronger we become because we become a family. We take care of each other.
And the fact that we are slowly eradicating stigma, the problem of disclosure will eventually just go away.
Like for example in San Francisco, diba? I mean, open gay culture sila doon, open If you have HIV, it's fine. You can walk around, etc. And like for example, let's go back to the RA 8504, where discrimination against HIV is not allowed. That's illegal.
Mhm.
But since people don't disclose their HIV status and they don't want other people to know about their HIV status, it's hard for us to find cases of discrimination because you don't want to file for discrimination because you don't want other people to know you have HIV.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And that may be the case. So, the more open we are about HIV, the better chances we have of enacting the law that protects us.
Exactly.
I mean, that for me, that's the importance of disclosure. You're building a support system and you're creating more advocates to help fight the stigma.
Actually, that's a good way to end our discussion.
Yeah.
I can't even put it any better than that. Kasi the only way to fight stigma is to accept it yourself na I'm ready to disclose.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
I had
much.
so much fun.
Me too. Me too. Despite
I learned a lot.
actually, I learned a lot, and it's nice to share information on disclosure, especially since a lot of the people don't have access to how.
Yes.
Experience wise, there's always gonna be fear. There's always gonna be stigma against other people, but personally, on a personal level, acceptance starts with you, and eventually, if you do that, slowly disclosing acceptance will come from other people as well.
And you have to remember, like something that you said a while ago, awareness is not enough. It has to become real for you. All that information is just going to be information in your head. Pero pag may kilala kang taong meron talagang HIV, magagamit mo na talaga. Kasi magiging relevant or
Yeah.
importante na yung information doon. You'll understand why it's important. Pero kung wala kang kilalang taong may HIV, alam ko, gumamit ka ng condom, but it doesn't mean anything unless you know somebody who has it. And that helps in the prevention, in the road to prevention for the rise of HIV, is to make it real.
Yeah, it's community. We start actually. I think it's our tagline is the best way to put it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
So again, for anyone who sees the video and would like to ask questions, is there a way for them to reach you? Twitter probably.
I have a Twitter, Wanggo_G. I have my blog, wanggo.wordpress.com.
Probably they can tweet you if they have questions.
Yeah.
You can also tweet us at AIDS at @AIDSPhil. Again, we have a Tumblr, aidsphil.tumblr.com, aidsphil.org, facebook.com/aidsphil. Show it. Yeah. So if you guys have questions, especially contact details about the support groups that we've mentioned, don't hide your face. Yeah. Hide Wanggo. Well, if you have questions, guys, visit us through our social media. And with that, I would like to say thank you to Wanggo.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you. Fair. And that is After Hours. We'll be back next month, and you'll catch the topic. And also our guest for that month. All right, we're signing off. Thank you. Bye.
Hello.
No,